Okay. Hello. So this is a joint work between ONERA, the French Aerospace Lab, and Airbus. In this work, we are interested in increasing the production rate of aircraft, more precisely the A320 aircraft, which are one of the parts of this aircraft is built in a city called Saint-Nazaire in France, and you can see here the assembly line, which produces approximately a bit more than 50 aircraft per month, and each aircraft costs approximately $100 million. So it's very interesting for Airbus to increase the production rate. In this assembly line, we have a set of workstations, and the principle is that each aircraft goes from one workstation to the next one, and at each step, additional parts are integrated in the air parts. So here you have in the aircraft, here you have a representation of the section of the aircraft, which is almost empty at the beginning, and at the end of the assembly line, it is full of a lot of parts. And at the manufacturing levels, the manufacturing teams build what is called the line balancing, which allocates all assembly activities to the workstations. Now, how do we increase the rate? A possible solution to do this is to update the design of the aircraft in order to make the manufacturing easier. Because at the level of the design teams, there might be several design choices at a given time. So here you can see two design choices where the pipes in a red or green or blue go in different directions. And depending on the design that you choose, then the manufacturing process can be more or less complex for the manufacturing teams. So here you have an example of a worker working in a very tiny zone. It's not not very practical for ergonomic conditions, whereas on the example on the right, the worker works in the cockpit, so it has more space. It's easier. To do this, the current process, if we look at the interface between the design teams and the manufacturing teams, currently the design teams start with a global design of the aircraft. This design is refined from step to step, and at the end, when they have a final design, they send this design to the manufacturing teams, which then build a schedule of all tasks to be performed on the assembly line. And the manufacturing teams can also give some feedback to the system designer. But the drawback here is that this loop takes approximately several weeks or even several months in some cases. And our goal in this study is to make this redesign loop much more shorter. And the way we do this is that we, at the level of the design teams, we integrate a high-level model of what will happen at on manufacturing side for a given design. So we want to provide the system designers with tools that help them assess what will be the manufacturing bottlenecks given a design, and what will be more generally, what will be all impacts of the design decisions. And we want to give this feedback instantaneously to the design teams. So now I'm going to present you the high-level model that we use at the design level, so the model that we build. So it's a simplified model of the assembly line because the design teams don't know all the constraints of the manufacturing teams. So in the simplified model that we have, we consider that the aircraft is made of a set of zones. So we have the cabin, the cockpit, several cargo compartments. And each aircraft zone has some capacity. In some zones, you can put only one worker at a time. In other zones, you can put 5 or 6 workers simultaneously. We have a set of assembly tasks to be performed, almost 1,000, and these tasks cannot be interrupted. So you cannot stop a worker in the middle of his work. And for each task, we know beforehand the aircraft zone associated with it, and also the number of operators which are required by the task. And in addition to that, we have a set of precedence constraints between the assembly tasks. So far, we are in a standard scheduling. We have an RCPSP because we have resources, tasks, precedence constraints. But as usual in applications, we have site constraints, which makes things a bit more complicated. First, we must consider the presence of workstations, which implies that given a task, for instance, task A2, a task cannot be spread over several workstations. So in this case, this is not a feasible schedule, whereas the schedule on the right is feasible because here task A2 is performed in workstation 2, so we do not need to interrupt task A2 in this case. The second point is that assembly tasks are partitioned into high-level tasks, which are groups of tasks, and these are called the routings. So it has nothing to do with a routing problem, but it's the wording that is used at Airbus. So I will use this word for the rest of the presentation, which means that we have a kind of hierarchical scheduling problem to be solved. Here you have an instance of a routing, which consists in assembling an air conditioning system X blah blah blah, which is decomposed into several tasks, 5 tasks, where you assemble 3 supports and then 2 pipes which use the supports. And also we have precedence constraints between routings. And now we arrive to the more complex constraints from a scheduling point of view, which is a non-interleaving constraint between routings. So what does it mean? Let's assume that we have 2 routings. One is A, it's composed of 2 tasks, A1 and A2, which are in green here, and another routing B, composed of several tasks, including B2. In this case, this schedule is not acceptable, operationally speaking, because we have an interleaving between routing A in green and routing B in orange. Whereas the schedule on the right is acceptable because we can see that in this case, task B2 is performed after all tasks associated with the routing in grid. So despite the fact that the schedule on the left has a shorter make span, this solution is not acceptable. So we have to formalize this in some way, and to formalize the non-interleaving constraint, what we say is that we don't want an interleaving between resource flows in the resource flow network associated with the solution of the RCPSP that we have. So let me give you an example to show you what is wrong with the solution on the left. So here you have a resource flow network in which we can see on the top all resource flow units which are used for zone Z1, this zone, this resource, which has a capacity 1. So at the beginning of the schedule, 1 unit of resource is provided to A1, because A1 starts first. Then 1 unit of resource, this unit of resource is released by A1 and given to B2, as here. And then the unit of resource is released by B2 and given to A2, since A2 follows B2. And here we can see that we have an interleaving between the routing A and routing B, because B2 is in the middle of a path between A1 and A2. So this is the meaning of the interleaving in the resource flow network. Whereas in the second case, here, we can see that we perform A1, A2, and then the unit of resource flow associated with this zone is delivered to B2. So we accept only this resource flow network here. So this was the modeling of the problem and the different constraints considered, where the non-interleaving constraint is the harder to formalize. And now we come to the scheduling algorithm that is used to quickly build a schedule that will be used by the system designers to evaluate the impact of their decisions. But before looking at this, the first step in our study was to take the existing line balancing and to try to simulate again this line balancing using our model. And to do this, so we have some data which describes the existing line balancing, and from this data, we are able to extract an ordering of tasks, and more precisely, an ordering of the routings to be realized. As here, we have 3 routings, A, B, and C, and this order represents a priority order for accessing the resources. And from the data, we can also extract for each routing an ordering between operations, between the tasks of the routing. So for instance here, for routing A, we have to perform first task A1 and then task A2 in the existing line balancing. And last, we can extract from the data that we have the workstation associated with each task. In this case, task A1 is performed in the first workstation as well as task A2 and so on. And from this, we use a simple list scheduling algorithm, and more precisely a hierarchical list scheduling algorithm, where we consider routings one by one in the order specified, and at each step, we insert all tasks associated with the selected routing in the schedule. And in the required workstation. So on this example, we will consider routing A first, and we will insert A1 and A2, then B, which is composed of 3 tasks, and C, and that's it. So with a single pass, we have our schedule, our full schedule, and let me note that the non-interleaving constraint is satisfied due to the list scheduling approach that we used, because we put tasks at each step only at the end of the schedule. So which leads us to resource flow networks in which there is no interleaving. So, and from this we also built visualization tools that help the system designers understand the schedule. And the issue here is that in the schedule you have almost 1,000 tasks, so it's not that easy to understand the schedule, and this is why we developed some filtering capabilities that help us, for instance, to select only a single zone of the aircraft and to see all operations in this zone, or to select only a single workstation. And we can also display the temporal flexibility of each task. We can decide to hide the hierarchical structure of the routings and so on. And we also have a representation of the different resources and how much they are consumed by the tasks. So this was the first step, trying to reproduce an existing line balancing. Now the second step, as I said in the beginning, the goal is to provide the system designer with tools that help them evaluate the impact of new design decisions. So in this case, if the designers build a new design, they are still able to provide an ordering between the routings and an ordering between all tasks composing a routing, but they are not able to provide the workstation associated with each task. So in the input data that we consider in this second step, we don't have this element. And from this, we slightly adapt our hierarchical list scheduling scheme by simply inserting at each step all tasks at the first possible workstation. So for example, in this case, if we try to insert task C2 on workstation 2, we have an issue here, and it suffices to postpone C2 to the next workstation. So we keep the same hierarchical list scheduling algorithm with just a single modification. And the last step is to perform some optimization to show the system designers what are the actual bottlenecks in their design. And to do this, we use constraint-based local search techniques. And the idea is simple. We start from a given ordering of the routings, and at each step, we take one routing of the ordering, for instance C, and we look for the best reinsertion position of C in the ordering. And we might end up with this ordering, and we do this a certain number of steps. And we also use some incremental techniques to perform all these operations efficiently, based on a library which is called Incel, which is developed at Onera. So it uses constraint-based local search principle, and we also use it for applications in the space domain and robotic domains. And the techniques are explained here in this paper. And on top of that, we add some meta heuristics to shuffle the ordering a bit, and then launch local search again. Yeah. And using these techniques, so this is a representation of how resources are used in the schedule. So some resources have a capacity 1, whereas others have capacity 4 or even 6. And the tasks in red shows a critical path in the schedule. So before optimization, with the ordering provided by the system designers, you can see that the critical path goes through several resources, and after optimization, we can prove that there is actually one zone in the aircraft which is extremely critical, and the system designers have to look more precisely at this zone in order to improve the production rate. We performed some experiments on real data from Airbus. Here you have an idea of the number of routings, the number of tasks, the number of precedences. And we also performed experiments on, so we took benchmark from the PSP-lib, and we made some adaptations to add hierarchical aspects in this benchmark. And we managed to produce solutions in a few seconds, almost instantaneously, so system designers can use this. And in the paper, we also present other experiments that we did with CP solvers. So to sum up, in this work, the generic ideas that are used behind the particular application handled is that to shorten the make span, the technique used is to update the problem data, to update the design. So this is another way of improving the make span. And the hierarchical list scheduling approach is generic, and also the visualization and explanation tools that we use are generic in our library. And we have several perspectives, such as extending the high-level model that we have for the manufacturing problems, taking into account, for instance, 3D aspects. We might also want to not only to simulate the line balancing, but also to give advices to the system designer. And we have to consider disruption and robustness issues, because we deal with an alive production system, and we cannot completely change the schedule in the end. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Cedric. I think we have time for one question, maybe. Does anybody have a question? Oh.
Hi. I understand that every plane has the same schedule. Would it help if, like, the uneven plane get a different schedule than the even planes for load balancing?
In practice, two different planes can have different options, because the airlines might want one option or another. So in practice, there are different schedules, and the schedules are built periodically, each day or each week, to make some adaptations in the line balancing. And in our case, we consider somehow a worst case for evaluating the impact of design decisions.
All right, let's thank Cedric one last